Hi, Damien and Tamari, my two favorite guys in the whole wide world. Love ya. I have another story for the both of you, and this one is called Lonely Scarecrow. It's written by a Tim Preston, and the pictures are made by a Maggie Neen. In the middle of a field, under a sky the color of cornflowers, stood a scarecrow. He had a scary face, but a kindly heart. More than anything, he wished that the animals and birds would be his friends. Aren't the pictures beautiful? And there's the scarecrow. He's sitting out there in the field all by himself. But the creatures of the field were afraid of the scarecrow's flapping coat and big black hat. They were afraid of his beady eyes, his crooked nose, and his jagged metal mouth. Ooh. Look at the animals. That's a fox, a badger, two bunnies, and a squirrel. And our scarecrow. In the spring, Scarecrow watched the animals play at the edge of his field. He watched the birds as they made their nests. He watched the carefree tumblings of fox cubs and rabbits. He listened to the noisy ducklings by the old pond. And all that time the animals watched the scary Scarecrow, but they never came near. So I guess he was feeling a little lonely. Oh, look at the little fox cubs playing, the ducks and the little baby ducklings, bunnies. Everybody's playing, but nobody's playing with him because they're afraid. They don't know him. And the birds with their eggs in her nest. And here's our Scarecrow friend standing out there in the field all by himself. Each day the swaying wheat in the field grew taller. The Scarecrow lost sight of the animals. He lost even the happy song of the lark, drowned out by the whispering of the wheat. Marooned in his golden sea, the Scarecrow lost hope of ever making friends. Oh, people use scarecrows because they want to scare away the birds from eating their crops. Look at the pretty flowers, and that's a snail and a ladybug. Wow. Then the combine monster came to harvest the wheat. The animals hid from its churning jaws and the ravaged acres of mud and stubble that it left behind. They also hid from the Scarecrow, who stood alone now in the empty field. So this machine is called a combine, and it harvests the wheat. So it's going to cut down the wheat and take it, and then they make bread and stuff from it. So then it just kind of mows down all the fields. From the north came a sly breeze that stole the leaves from the trees and the light from the days. The animals hurried home to their warm burrows and cozy nests. And the Scarecrow felt lonelier, for he knew that winter was coming. So when the leaves start falling from the trees, they change color, and it's called autumn or fall. And it happens right before winter. Nature prepares itself for the winter season. It gets cold in the winter, and it gets a little cold in the fall. Snow fell heavily one night and kept on falling. It fell on the bare, stale woods on the silent fields. Slowly, it covered the ground where the Scarecrow stood. So see, all the leaves are gone from the trees, and that's what happens for fall, and then comes winter, and everything is bare. And then snow will come because it's very cold, and snow comes in the winter. Not in Florida, though. It's too warm. In the morning, the animals woke to the world that had changed. A thick blanket of snow covered the frozen earth. The Scarecrow seemed to have vanished too, and in his place stood a jolly snowman. Look, the water, it got so cold, the little pond turned into ice. Little ducks are standing on the water because it's ice, it's frozen. Bunnies, the fox, more bunnies, bird, and a snowman. The creatures played happily in the field, rolling and tumbling in the snow around the Scarecrow. And the Scarecrow, well, he was as cheerful and bright as a sunny winter day. I think he's almost smiling. Look, they're not afraid of him when he's a snowman, so he has friends. Although he was happy, the Scarecrow was afraid of what would happen when he lost his snowy coat. He was afraid that the animals would shrink from his twisted shape. Most of all, he was afraid he would be alone again. And then the snow began to thaw. So when snow thaws, it means it's starting to melt. The weather's getting warmer and it's not cold enough for it to stay being snow. So when it thaws, it starts melting. So what's going to happen when all the snow melts off the snowman? The snow slipped off the Scarecrow's shoulders and dripped from the brim of his hat. When the last patches of snow fell from his face, the animals looked up in wonder. Could the friendly snowman be the same scary creature they had feared for so long? As the warmth of the spring stirred the brown earth, the Scarecrow felt a bird peck at his hat and a mouse nestle in the folds of his coat. And the Scarecrow knew that he would never be lonely again. Aw, see, they're all hugging him and going into his little pocket, and they're not afraid of him anymore because they got to know him. They didn't know him. They just judged him by his looks, and you can't always judge people by their looks. You have to get to know them. The end. So I love reading to you. You guys are my most favorite human beings in the whole wide world. You're good boys. I love you. And I can't wait to see you sometime soon again.